One of the biggest barriers to entry when starting trading is having enough capital to start with. But the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency trading is you really don't need that much capital to grow a small account and to create a massive income generating machine for yourself if you know how to do it properly. So today in this video, I'll use my over 7 years experience as a full-time trader and investor to show you exactly how I would take $100 and scale this up to a $10,000 account. I'm going to show you how to get access to capital, the exact strategy I would use to safely scale up this account, along with the complete trading system that you can start using today to actually start taking these trades. And at the end, I'll show you case studies and transparent examples of my trades that I take alongside my core team of traders that I now use to be able to make thousands of dollars per day trading cryptocurrency. Okay, so if that sounds good and that's your goal, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you like trading and investing, turn on the bell notifications so that you know when I put videos out. Check us out on Instagram, Discord, TikTok. We have an amazing trading community. All right, so considering that the biggest barrier to entry when starting trading is having access to capital, I'm going to show you how we can use $100 and use up to $10,000 worth of capital in order to safely and effectively take these trades. I use Bybit to do most of my cryptocurrency trading. Depending on where you live, you might need to use different exchanges. Femex is another option in the cryptocurrency space that allows us to take the style of trades and be able to have access to leverage. Okay, but you can see if I click into my leverage button here, and we can increase this up to 100x, which once again will give us access to 100x the size of capital. And this is applicable across all platforms. Okay, you do have to be careful with leverage, but if you understand how to use it properly, it can drastically increase the speed in which you grow your account. All right, so for example, with my trading, I'm usually risking anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 per trade in attempts to make anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per trade. All right, but for the sake of the example, we're going to be using a $100 account with 10% risk, so $10 risk, so that we can start small, work on the process, and then work towards scaling that as we go along. Okay, so systems aside for a second, the first thing that we want to be focusing on is figuring out the amount of units that we need to enter the market depending on where our take profit and our stop loss is. So if we want to buy in here, place our stop loss here. So if the market moves down, we keep a small contained loss in hopes that the market is going to move up to this level before that happens. We need to figure out exactly how many units to enter the market in here in order to keep our risk exactly 10% or exactly $10. In order to determine our entry quantity, we need to take the total percent or dollar amount risk and divide that by the entry price, which is going to be 178.13, and our stop loss value, which is going to be 175.51. So you can see our stop loss value here is 2.62. So if we're risking $10 divided by 2.62, that's going to give us exactly 3.816 units we need to buy at this point in order to risk exactly $10. So in order to figure out how much money we're going to need to use in order to enter this trade, we now want to take the total units that we need to buy and multiply it by our entry price, which is going to give us the capital requirement before leverage of entering this position, which you can see in this situation is going to cost us $679. So if we're starting with a $100 account, even though we're only risking $10 on this position, this is still going to cost us $679. This is exactly where leverage comes into play. A lot of people think that leverage is just used to increase the risk on the trade and act like a degen. This is actually not true at all. This is how you're able to scale your trading accounts to use responsible, proper amounts of risk. Okay, so say we wanted to go and take this trade on one of our cryptocurrency exchanges. So I'd put in my entry price and my entry quantity, and you can see this position is going to cost me $677. But you can see if I click on my leverage bar here and I increase this to say 50x leverage and hit confirm, this is now going to make the capital requirement for the position $14.2. Now there's one stipulation with leverage. The more leverage that you use increases the position value, which you are going to be paying fees on. So ideally you want to use the least amount of leverage possible in order to save yourself the most amount of money. Okay, so you can see in this situation, if I go out to 25x, now this is going to cost me about $27 on the position. So the idea is for you to use enough leverage to be able to facilitate taking these trades, but don't just use as much leverage as you can, because then you're just paying more money in fees. So then I'd go and put my take profit value there, put my stop loss value here, and then I would go ahead and hit this buy long button here, and that would allow me to get into this position, whereas before we wouldn't nearly have enough money to be able to take this trade. Leverage is not increasing the risk profile on the trade so long as you're quantifying this risk profile first and then using the least amount of leverage required in order to enter this position. Okay, because if you're just entering positions with random amounts of coins without doing this process first, you're never going to actually be able to dial in a proper trading system and end up being profitable at all. Okay, because trading comes down to two primary primary metrics, which is your winning percentage. So what percent of the time are you right versus wrong on your trade idea? And what is the average amount of money that you're making when you are right versus how much you're risking when you're wrong? Okay, so in this situation, we have a 1 to 4 risk reward, meaning that if we're right about the price coming here before it comes to here, we're gonna make 4x the amount of money that we're risking. All right, and the reason that you need to know those average metrics is so that you can understand whether or not your system is going to be profitable based on these statistics. So you can see here's our risk reward ratio, okay, with our 4 to 1, meaning that we're making 4x what we're risking when we're wrong. At a 20% win rate, you're going to be break even on your account. And then even being wrong 70% of the time, okay, you're still going to be in a profitable position. But if you're just buying and selling randomly, you're never going to even be able to quantify any of those metrics to be able to see where your system actually sits on this table and if it's going to be effective. In this situation, even if we're wrong 70% of the time, so we take 70 losses, okay, in the trading world, we consider this area right here as 1R or 1 risk factor, so that we're not considering it how much money you lost on the trade, but what unit of risk are you losing, because the money doesn't actually matter. The money will come if you perfect the system. So even if we have 70 negative R factors, if we have 30 wins over that time, that's going to give us 120 positive risk factors. All right, so if we make 50 risk factors, not 40, 50 at $10, that's going to give us $5,000 in profit. Mind you, this is going to take a significant amount of time. And the minimum win rate in order to be profitable with these statistics is 21%. All right, this is a pretty standard way of trading. But once you understand this math, you can start applying it to any sort of combination of winning percentage and average risk reward in order to find really unique edges in the market. And this is what we've been working on for the past 3 or 4 months now that I'm finally sharing with you guys because of the results we've been seeing when we're trading this. We have people scaling their accounts like crazy. We have whole entire processes built up on this and all sorts of testing. I'm going to outline this entire process for you and show you exactly how we're doing this. But first, you need to understand these sort of math things behind it so that everything else starts to make sense. So have some patience. So let's take a second example here. In this situation, now we're risking 5 times the amount that we could potentially make on the trade. So say we enter here and the price just continues to drop down to this value. We're losing 5 times what we're expected to profit on this trade if the price even corrects up a little bit and gets us out for a full take profit. Most people are just going to look at this and be like, why would you ever want to risk more money than your potential upside? But it's because if I have my 5 to 1 risk reward and I can figure out when the market is more likely to make a tiny move like this before having a whole massive move like this, all we need is an 84% or higher win rate in order to be profitable with this system. Even if we have 8 losses, we can go for negative 40 risk factors, and with 92 wins, meaning that we're losing about 1 trade every 10 trades, okay, we can have positive 92 risk factors and still have positive 52 risk factors, which, not including the compound, would be $5,000 in profit. But now it's about the process to make this happen and being able to track the data so you can scale the account. So that's exactly what we figured out and what I'm going to show you with this system. But before we dive into how to trade the system so that you can start taking these trades, I want to go over some general rules of thumb, especially that apply to this trading system that can help you safely and effectively grow your account. All right, so the first rule is having a starting point that is both psychologically comfortable and will allow your system to have a profitable edge. For this system and for this trading example, it's always smart to start a little bit smaller. So we're going to start with 10% as a good starting point. And then once we understand the stats, we can go ahead and increase it. All right, and a good rule of thumb is pick an account size that if you lost the entire thing, it wouldn't be that catastrophic to you. So that way you can focus on the math behind the system and not the money at first, because it's going to be psychologically draining for you in the beginning either way. So starting with a smaller amount of capital, building the infrastructure to then be able to inject it with more capital is how you're able to scale in trading. Okay, starting with too much money because you're anxious to make a lot of money, it's only going to burn you more money and actually slow you down from making money. Okay, trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. Take my word for it. And so, for example, some of the traders on the Discord and the examples that I'm going to show you have a over 95% win rate trading this. Okay, so this is going to take some time to build up to. Rule 2 is something called fixed percentage withdrawals. All right, and this means that every time you have a profitable trade, you're taking a percentage of that profit and setting it aside, putting the rest of the profit back into the account, and then taking a percentage off of that again. So you're still compounding the account, but then when you do have a loss, you're able to take all the profit that you've set aside and cycle that back into your account to sort of smooth out this process. So yes, this can slow down the compound, okay, but this is also going to smooth out the equity curve and make it a more gradual, safe, scalable process. Okay, with trading, we want to make it sustainable, we want to make it gradual, and we want to follow the proper processes. And this is really, really important for this particular system. You're going to find out in just a second. In step 3 is picking an income goal per day. Whenever you're starting something, you want to know where your end goal actually is. You don't want to just keep going at it and not thinking about it. You want to know different sections of when I get to this amount of money, this is going to be my objective. So once you get to the point where 25% of the profit is a good daily amount that you want to start taking out, this is how you can turn this process into that income generating machine for yourself while maintaining consistency. If I can make right around $1,000 per trade and do this a couple times per day, that's getting me to the couple $1,000s in profit per day. And factoring losses is still going to get me anywhere between that $3,000 to $5,000 per week. So then I continually work to grow on in order to say double that. Then in say a couple years, I'll scale that up, which will get me to sort of that sweet spot of $3,000 to $5,000 per week and work on scaling that over time. All right, so let's get into the bread and butter of the trading system. This is a system that we've been working on over the past several months that we're absolutely crushing the crypto market in, especially considering this is a trend following system. All right, so the idea with this system is being able to find a trend really early and be able to strategically buy into dips on the trend to play continuations to profit as the market is either moving generally up and generally down. All right, so in order to take these trades, we're going to need 3 major things. The first is going to be something called the IT Foundation Indicator, which you can find in the resources section of our Discord, and go ahead and add it right onto your trading view. What this is going to show us is this going to show us a 20, a 50, and a 200-day simple moving average, so we can get the general trend direction of the current move, because this system is a trend following system. This indicator is also going to show you this gray section here, which is going to show us where the New York stock market sessions are opening so that we can avoid volatility. It's going to make more sense to you in just a second once you understand the system better. Okay, this indicator is also going to show us a chart here as to whether or not these EMAs are all lined up. You can see when the 20s over the 50 over the 200 on a 5-minute frequency, this is going to show us bullish. On a 1 hour, it's bearish. This is going to be one of our trend confirmation tools. The second thing you're going to need is a Fibonacci retracement with specific fib settings. All right, so our stop loss value is going to be negative 0.05. This level is going to be 0.17, 0.382, 0.618, which is going to be our original entry. And then the 1.272 is our original take profit. Okay, I'll open this up so you can screenshot this and replicate this and just go into templates and hit save as default. All right, and the third thing that you're going to need is this tool right here, which is a calculator that we've built in order to calculate this specific trading system. All right, so here's a trade example of a trade that I took when I was in Spain and was able to lock in right around $1,000 in just a few hours. All right, so the first thing that I was looking for is a beginning of a new trend. And the way I look for that is finding this continuation of a trend here and waiting for price action to break not only this level with this low, but also if we look at these 2 other lows here, making sure that all of the levels of this previous uptrend here are broken in order to confirm early on the beginning of a new trend. All right, if you guys remember Elliott wave theory, where we're able to figure out where we are in a trend, if we look at this as our 1, 2, 3, 4 coming down to the high of 1 up to 5. Okay, as soon as we get this move down, now we have the beginning of a confirmation of a trend switch, which is going to give me the confidence that this is a new trend. So then what I want to do is make sure that the price action is outside of this New York open window, because we want to avoid crazy volatility. So I'm going to take my Fibonacci retracement here. I'm going to click from my low point here up to the high of this point here. Okay, and this is a short position. A lot of people don't know that you can make money on the short side of crypto, but a lot of the money that we do make is actually making money when the price goes down. All right, and the main goal of this system is now to have a retracement of this overall trend into our 61.8 level. Now I have an open short position, hoping that the price breaks down through these levels and comes to my first take profit level down there. All right, and a lot of times this will happen. This is a trade that I took several weeks ago. We had our moving averages stacked up, perfect entry here and perfect take profit at the 1.272 level. Okay, but in this situation, you can see price comes down, gets rejected off of that zone. All right, and now we're continuing to move up. All right, so this 38.2 level is now going to be our secondary area where we're entering the market. All right, so price comes up and gets us into this secondary order. All right, and the cool part about this is now my new take profit level is going to be right at this point, where now all the price has to do is come down and touch this just a little, even if it does continue to rip in the opposite direction and we were wrong about our initial thesis, and this will still get us out for full profit. All right, you can see that's exactly what happened. Price chopped around sideways for a little bit profit and then came down and got us out for a full profit trade. All right, but for sake of example, say this trade now came up back through this level and now continued up to this level. Okay, based on our calculations, then our orders would get us into here. Our new take profit level would be right around here. So now all the price would have to do is come down through this point at some point to also get us out for actually an even bigger profit this time. But say for example, this price went and did something like this and comes up through the chart like this. This is where we're going to take a max size loss on the position. And this is why we want to use our other technical analysis to find areas of the chart where we're most likely to have sideways chop and avoid outside factors of volatility to increase the chance of one of these outcomes to happen. All right, and these styles of trades happen so often. So once again, here, our break of structure here, new downtrend. We take our Fibonacci from this low to this high over here. You can see our first short order would be in this zone. Second short order would be right here. And then we're out right here for a full take profit. Okay, so we can keep going. So you can see now we have this local high broken, which is confirming this as an overall uptrend. All right, so then I can go from this high down to this low zone here. And once again, the reason I like this is because even if this is our Elliott wave theory, so we have 1, 2, say 3, 4, and this is 5, off of this, we expect that this is going to bounce at some point off of one of these levels and come back up and be able to get us out for a full profit. The only way that that wouldn't happen is if this all of a sudden just drops like a rock straight through here without having any turnaround points in the trend. Okay, so this truly is a trend continuation system. So let's see what would happen here. All right, and then we smash our take profit level on this trade. And meanwhile, there's so many of these opportunities all inside this current trend, but we'll keep going. All right, once again, off of this move, we get our first entry zone here, second entry zone here, and then our take profit right in here once again for full take profit. All right, so in order to position size and set up this position properly on Mana, I'm first gonna come in, put my ticker into this calculator on Mana, then I'm going to put my account size. Okay, so you can start with $100 for this example. Then I'm gonna put my first limit here, which is going to be at this level. Okay, so 0.672. I'm gonna select short on this drop-down menu. My take profit is going to be 0.3674. Enter that in. Stop loss is going to be 0.7072. All right, my limit 1 is going to be this level here, and my limit 2 is going to be this level here. All right, so this is going to now show me automatically whether or not the margin is good, what my potential take profit amount is here on this position. It's gonna be about 2% on this trade using $100. Okay, once again, if you're able to scale up, now we're talking about a couple $100 per trade. All right, and it's also gonna show you the take profit level if you are to hit these secondary limits. And then of course, you're risking 10%. So if you're going for 2%, you're risking 10% on the trade, which would be $10 on a $100 account. Okay, so now you have your initial entry quantity at your first limit, which is going to be 61.9. So you can go over to Bybit, you can put in Mana, put in our first order price with our quantity, check this box right here, go ahead and hit short. Take profit is going to be 0.6374, stop loss 0.772, hit confirm, and then you're going to go ahead and sell short. And you're going to repeat this process for your limit 1 and limit 2. And then once again, once this trade plays out, all your orders are automatically going to be set, calculated properly mathematically, and then you'll automatically be taken out for full profit. One thing to remember is anytime this does happen, you need to go back into your exchange and cancel all of the remaining limit orders once you get your notification on a full profit trade. All right, but here's where things get interesting. This is why I made the safe account growth section on here, which once again, I'm going to add to a card in the end of the video, so you'll be able to download this as sort of a reference cheat sheet. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking 25% of the profits from each trade and saving it into a reserve section and taking all of that reserved profit to roll in after you take a 10% loss. And this is going to accelerate the growth of the account. Okay, once again, I put the TCL Max checklist here along with our entire suite of trading tools. So all the calculators and all the on-screen tools. All right, and in there is going to give you a TCL Max tracker. Okay, so this is where you're going to be able to calculate how much money to roll into the next trade and to have a log of accountability so you can track your progress as you scale. All right, so these are just placeholders for now, but you can see steps are to add your initial balance up in this. You're going to put the date, the ticker, whether it was long or short, which limit you got filled on. So was it 0, 1, 2 or stop loss? Then all you're going to be doing is updating your balance. Say you make 2% on this trade. Now you're at 102. Now you're going to be reserving 25% of that profit in the bank. So now you're you're going to take this subtracted by your reserve amount, which is going to give you 101.5 to use on your next trade. Okay, say you make 2% on that again. Now your account balance is going to be at 104 and you're going to be reserving another 50 cents. Okay, additionally, you can screenshot each of these trades, highlight the cell and go insert cell, image, insert cell inside image, which is then going to allow you to copy onto this chart, highlight this box over here, hit paste and see all of your previous trades. You can see this is the trade that I took in Spain that I just showed to you guys. All right, and this is going to show you your average percentage P&L and your overall account growth. So let's talk about scaling and actually growing this account. All right, I started using something called Cloud, which allows me to randomize different situations for backtesting strategies depending on the inputs. And I have an R script, which basically shows us the entire script for all of the profit taking, redistribution, and winning percentage expectations for us to model out the growth expectancy for this system. And we're already seeing this play out in real life. All right, just so that you know that these aren't just theoretical models. You can see Hisham doubled his account 5 times and is up over 500% already. And is saying thanks for the unbelievable effort. This has been a big team effort to work on this, and we're quite literally changing people's lives. And I want to bring this to you guys and sort of reconstruct the retail trading space. You can see PJ Pan, 21 wins, 1 loss. All right, so I'll break this down nicely for you guys, starting with a $100 account, making about 2% profit per trade with a 10% risk and a 0.87 winning rate, which is actually fairly low, all things considered, with keeping 25% of that balance being totaled and rolled in after losses. I can go ahead and run this data set, and that's going to show us over the series of 100 trades. Yes, we had ups and downs and there are losses injected in here, but over 100 trades, 217, which is more than doubling the account, can happen in 100 trades. So if you're taking several of these per day, getting the process down, being able to double that account. Okay, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. The idea isn't to take $100 and try to Hail Mary it into turning it to $10,000. It's about building the process, taking trading on as a journey long term to be able to scale to these levels. Okay, because say we take a few months to practice this process and you're able to save up a couple $100, say we're starting with about $500. Now we're looking at turning a couple $100 into around $1,000. All right, we can see starting with the 925, gradually over time working on this process, we hit the 10,000 mark at about 460 trades in. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned starting with a smaller percent risk as a beginner and then increasing that risk based on the statistical significance of your system. We've actually gone one step further on our trading team, and we've built something called a progressive rebalancing calculator, which allows us to systematically accelerate this exact process by about 5x. So you can see Alvarez is already in phase 3 of this hyper growth strategy that we've set up. And you can see all of the winning trades that he's banking in here. Okay, big shout out to Goose, who's also one of the devs in our community, wrote an amazing message to us in one of our team meetings. Okay, for everyone that thinks this sounds too good to be true, just try it out yourself. 2, 3, 5x your account is something you can achieve with the proper focus and discipline. Okay, he's been at it for several months now and has dialed in on this process. And these win streaks can rapidly increase the rate in which you grow. All right, I wanted to bring this to you guys so that you can start working on this yourself while still being fair to everyone who is on the private side of the trading community. Okay, there are tons of resources for you guys to get involved. We have the free Discord in the description below where we have our daily trading biases, or we have a full cryptocurrency opportunity section in our Discord, as well as a public chat for everybody to hang out here and trade together. I have all sorts of free training resources for you guys, as well as all the trade resources that you need to get started. All right, so once again, hop in there, check it out. It's completely for free. And if you're still here, that means you're really committed. So if you go in the comment section below and tell me one thing that you absolutely loved about this video, I'm going to read through all of these comments. I'm going to be picking 2 individuals to win complete access to our entire suite of trading and education in private side of our Discord. Okay, I'll probably be announcing one a few weeks from now and then one maybe a little bit further down the road. Here's the TCL card cheat sheet that I promised. If you're still here, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you like trading and investing. Check us out on Instagram, Discord, TikTok. Make sure you turn the bell notifications on so you know when I drop videos. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video.